Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Julia and I'm a Cambridge certified English teacher, teacher trainer and a Delta holder. In these sessions I share with you how to do well in Delta Module 1, 2 and 3 and what helped me personally to do well and to pass the exam successfully. In this session we are going to talk about how to prepare for Delta Module 1, Paper 2, Task 3. Let's get started. And now it's time to have a look at Paper 2, Task 3. First things first, let's have a look at what to expect. For this task, you are provided with ELT-related extract from methodology materials or resource book. It also can be the teacher's coursebook guide, a lesson plan extract, and observers or learners discussing a lesson. For this task, you can get 40 marks. But that's something what we'll discuss a little bit later. What does it check? Task 3 tests your ability to analyze materials and resources produced by or for the teachers. This task checks your ability to identify how specified ELT teacher roles, approaches, methodologies, and techniques might help learners develop language and language skills. It also checks your ability to identify, describe, and evaluate different teacher approaches, methodologies, and techniques in ELT. It also checks how you can identify, explain, and relate theories of first and second language acquisition to resources, approaches, methodologies, and materials. And lastly, it checks how you can relate resources, approaches, methodologies, and materials to teachers' roles in a variety of ELT practices. Now I suggest having a look at the extract from Task 3. We have the candidate, her name is Kate, and the result that she received was pass with distinction. This is the task which entails the following information. Getting student feedback. We can see here 6 points. This is the procedure of getting student feedback, apparently. After the procedure, you can see the task itself. There are 2 questions in Part A and 1 question in Part B. Let's have a look at Part A. Why might a teacher want to obtain feedback on these aspects of the lesson? The second question is, why might a teacher want to obtain feedback using the procedures described in the box above? My recommendation is to read those questions carefully and understand the difference. When you are in the exam, you may be stressed out by the situation that you will be in. Read the task carefully, read those questions carefully and understand what they refer to. The third question, which is in Part B, relates to the reasons. What reasons are there against obtaining feedback from students? Let's have a look at this example answer. This is the extract from a full answer, and I especially chose 1 bullet point that would be a part of this answer. So question 1, let me remind you what it was. Why might a teacher want to obtain feedback on these aspects of the lesson? Let's have a look at Kate's answer. By focusing on the stages of the lesson, it allows the students to reflect on the materials used, the focus, for example, speaking, grammar, listening, and student interaction. It puts the focus on the lesson rather than the teacher, avoiding the situation when the student feels uncomfortable critiquing their teacher. It allows the teacher to have feedback on what they have prepared and is something which can be changed easily with planning. Let's have a look at the second question. Why might a teacher want to obtain feedback using the procedures described? Let me remind you of those procedures. We have 6 procedures. Let's have a look at the answer. By getting written feedback, the teacher is increasing their chance of getting honest feedback. In the past, I have asked in an open class what students would like to do more, less of, and found that students have been reticent to give information. However, once I give students a slip of paper and ask them to write this down, they are much more forthcoming.
Culture differences can also play a part. One Japanese student of mine didn't want to be selfish by telling me what he wanted to do more of and only did so when prompted in a one-to-one tutorial. You can see here the bullet point, you can see the rationale behind it, you can also observe the example. In addition to achieving the maximum number of marks available for the breadth of the answer, the candidate also gains the maximum number of marks for depth as she has produced a fully developed and well-balanced response to the task. The points that she makes are consistently supported by rationale based on relevant references to her experience and exemplification. Her rationale is both convincing and insightful. And now let's have a look at the third question from part B. What reasons are there against obtaining feedback from students? Kay decided to provide the following answer. When teachers ask students for feedback, it can make them appear to lack confidence in their lessons. This in turn can lead to students having less confidence in their teacher and looking for flaws in their lessons to confirm this. It also appears to be a really consistent answer for which candidate successfully obtained the marks. When you prepare for Delta Module 1, it is important to check the guideline answers to see how close your answers are to the required ones. You can see here the required ones. It doesn't really mean that you need to mention all of them. The answers contained here are intended to illustrate as comprehensively as possible the points that candidates can write in order to gain marks in Task 3. Please note that you are not expected to write all of the information contained in these guidelines answers. Here you can see the guidelines for the second question with the bullet points and rationale, and further you can also have a look at the third question and the answers with rationale. Please spend some time and try to analyze those answers. See what you agree with, what you disagree with, because these are all different viewpoints, and it may happen that in your context you have different examples. Make sure that you cover as many points as you can, and don't forget to add your own examples and reference to methodology. Your logical question would be how to prepare for Task 3 from Paper 2. First of all, read references on the hypothesis of first and second language acquisition. Then read references on approaches and methods, both mainstream and non-mainstream, in language teaching and learning in a variety of learning environments. Try to explore contemporary issues in ELT. And in one of my previous videos, you can see the books that I refer to, where you can see different issues in ELT, and they can be really very helpful. I suggest reading academic and practical guides to methodology and pedagogical issues with a focus on teachers' and learners' roles. Consider the effect of these on teaching and learning in different contexts. Ask a colleague to observe your teaching and discuss the different approaches and roles used during the lesson. Another thing what you can do is plan lessons with specific attention to the techniques, roles, and approaches you intend to adopt during the lesson. Analyze the effectiveness of these in terms of outcomes for learners and achievement of aims. I think that after all this information that you've been exposed to so far, you might have a very logical question. What to start with? I'd suggest starting with reading the rubric carefully and only provide the information you are asked for. Make as many relevant points as you can under each section, no matter how simple they may seem. Develop the points made, supporting them with rationale based on relevant reference to your experience, examples, and range of contexts, sources, and theories. You need to signpost your answers clearly. I would suggest using bullet points, and after each bullet point, provide the rationale for which you can receive additional marks for breadth. And now let's have a look at the to-dos. The first to-do is read the rubric carefully and exclude irrelevance. The second to-do is make enough points. You need 15 to secure the maximum marks. The third tip would be don't make too many points. Anything in excess of 15 will probably be ignored. You won't have enough time or space to develop your comments effectively. Develop the points by referring to methodology and theory, and allow yourself enough time to address the whole task. My advice would be to spend around 35 minutes on it, because this task carries 40% of the possible marks, but spend less if you can. I anticipated that this activity would take quite a lot of time. I decided to start with task 3, and it helped me to ideate on my answer while doing other tasks from paper 2. Then I came back to part 3 again, and I had more ideas and insights on how to answer it. It's totally up to you whether you would like to do all the tasks one after another, or maybe you would like to start with number 3 or number 2. In my case, starting with task 3 helped me to gain enough marks, and I successfully completed the task. Now let's have a look at marking. As you can see, 2 marks are given for each correct point made, up to a maximum of 30 marks. Plus, you get a mark out of 5 for the depth of your response. And that mark is then doubled to bring it up to a maximum of 10 marks. And the very logical question would be, what is the depth criteria for paper 2 task 3? Give a rating between 0 to 5 for the overall response. Ratings for depth are doubled to a maximum of 10 marks. Depth criteria consists of development, rationale, and reference. A fully developed, well-balanced response to the task will definitely gain the highest mark. And final points from me. You can't know everything, but you can increase the probability of doing better in the exam by doing past papers on your own or with Delta peers, noticing your gap and analyzing the guidelines to better meet the requirements.
That was everything what I wanted to share with you in this session, and I hope it will help you in your exam preparation. If you have any questions, please share them in the comments down below. I will be very glad to answer all of them. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and see you in my upcoming videos. Bye!